Hello everyone, and welcome to this LP. This is it's kind of a late night vibe. It's not really that late, but it's a little later than I would normally record this. So, we're gonna play. We'll play the video game. As always, I've forgotten what we were doing last time. So, you know, gotta deal with that. But, get these login rewards. Cleaned all that stuff. I think we need to go to a shop. It's like the first thing we need to do. Okay, transport service. Mission log. There's the button we want. Let's do this one. Let's do the class one. Yeah, so we want to go this way. And is there like any... Apparently there's some side quests and stuff here. Let's see. Is this where I am? A rogue mission. Here's some guy. Hello, guy. Oh, wait, check my email. There's nothing in here. Alright.
Hold your position, please, and keep your weapon holstered. The remotes are scanning you now.
This is a very mild-mannered, lady.
Sorry, my lord. We're on the lookout for anyone with Lord Grathan, and I'm sick of letting him stomp on my people.
I hope you plan to elaborate.
Look, stick around a minute. I don't know if you're familiar with the situation, but Grathan's a nightmare. The Sith Lord's gone rogue. He's holed up in his estate past the wall. He's got weapons, shields, and a cadre of scientists developing new tech to use against us. Grathan wants respect and authority from the Dark Council, so in true Sith fashion, he turned on his masters to prove his power. As a result,
this is a very unsustainable
we have to put
empire.
up with this lunacy.
I mean, I guess it doesn't last all that long.
Problems anyway. You might help us out.
If it suits my plans, perhaps I will.
Here's the story. There are nearly 100 men assigned to this sector, some on the wall, some watching Grathan. 20 are missing. My men. Practically my kids.
Oh,
Grathan stole them, and I want them back.
Why would Lord Grathan be kidnapping soldiers?
I don't know what Lord Grathan wants with them. Maybe he's holding them hostage just to demoralize us. Who knows? But if you're heading to Grathan's grounds, help them get out. Tell them to report back to their Duchess. That's, what they call me.
Hell yeah.
Consider it done.
I love
I've got reports saying that Grathan's been transporting prisoners to another wing of his estate. I don't know if it's my people he's moving, but it's worth checking out.
Oh yeah.
Watch yourself. Grathan doesn't mess around.
They call her Duchess. I mean, you know, you gotta respect it. This is Flashpoint. Okay.
What's happening here?
Oh, it's this guy.
This is Darth Malgus of the Expeditionary Fleet to all available forces.
It's the
if you
guy.
are receiving this, you have been judged an asset, and the Empire requires your strength. It is your privilege and your duty. The alien adversary hegemony has established Hammer Station, a mobile battle platform that threatens our borders. You will join the strike team assembling at Vigan Space Dock to be briefed in full. In the name of of the Emperor.
I'll do everything in my power.
That's not what. Okay. All right. So we're good to go for that. I think I'm gonna. I don't know. I think I'm gonna stay on this planet for a little bit longer, right? Oh, it's missions for a group. Okay, I don't have a group. I maybe. I don't know. Thing is, I'm always getting more ambitious. When I'm on the mic right now, I'm like, hey, maybe maybe I could do some more stuff. Like that would be pretty cool. Or I could do some, like what, I could do more consistent episodes, or I could have guests on, because I know people who play this game. In theory, I could, okay, I don't know. Wow. Anyway, point is, that, his name, though. On mic, I'm always like, oh, yeah, it'd be cool to do that. And often I stop thinking about it. This is like the most low-key thing I can make. In terms of like, time and effort put in. Pretty chill. That's part of why that's so many technical errors. Oh, I need to go. Okay, I need to go sell some stuff. And that's fine. And I think I'm okay with that, and I hope y'all are okay with that too. I guess you can message me on Patreon if you're like, hey, I actually want to get more bang for my buck here, then, and that's fine. But no promises. But I will hear you. I will listen to you. Yeah, just kind of the main thing I'm trying to like think through is here we go. It's just like what's actually feasible for me to be doing, So all this. Sell. It's weird that it tells me the reaction, I feel like. No, it's not. Maybe I'll hold on to that, though, just in case. Sell. Okay. That's other stuff I want, or it seems like it's stuff I want anyway. Can you believe there's a fucking battle pass? Aggressive negotiations premium crate. Crate of universal prefabs. I do not have a shit. That's so true. So yeah, it's just a tough thing, and I don't really know. I'm feeling very existential about. This is like the hour. Where I'm like, man, I'm feeling some kind of way about how I do work, and I don't know how to fix it. That's every fucking episode of this. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to subject you to that. What are you doing? I'm reading Halo books. I guess I haven't actually talked about this. So I might as well talk about it here. I've been reading, so I read Fall of Reach, which is like, the Halo book. I think, like, if you've read a Halo book, it's probably that one. And I'm in the middle of The Flood, which is straight up an adaptation of Halo 1. It's just like 100%, like down to descriptions of parts of levels and cutscenes and shit. It's like the whole package. Anyway, Fall of Reach was actually surprisingly good. And I think part of that is just, I read a lot stuff with Rogue Squadrons for a podcast. Shout out to my buddy, podcast called The War in Our Stars about reading Star Wars books. It's good. It's a really good podcast. I was on it one time. Anyway, all this is to say, I've been thinking a lot. I read Rogue Squadron, and those books are awful. They're really bad. They're poorly written, but also just like kind of repugnant. And part of it's tough because like the whole thing is very interested in idea of Star Wars that I have like very little interest in, really. Like pilots and stuff. That's just not interesting to me. I think you can do that stuff, and maybe I think if it was good, it would be good. It's not. It's bad. So this is the thing is, on sort of a basic level, Fall of Reach is just like way easier to read. It's way more like all the action scenes are just well paced, and they have like, simple stakes they can set up early on, right? And the thing is, despite it being like in premise, some lore bullshit, like the whole thing is straight up. The idea is you are going into something that is, like expanding the narrative of the video games, right? Or setting it up, really, because that's also the thing, is this novel came out like a month before Halo did, right? And so it is, it is to some degree kind of its own thing in an interesting way. It's like, it's set up. It's like something you're supposed to experience before playing the game, which I don't think people mostly did. That's what and it also, like, it really does, like, Halo 1 is smart. And actually, really, those first series, they're just really, like, don't give you a lot of setup about the world or the stage of what is happening, right? There's, like, enough that you sort of get the basics. And so, yeah, so, like, all that stuff is in this book. But it's just really clean. There's just not a lot to... Like, it's very much just like, hey, here's the story of, like, Master Chief and how Master Chief became the guy, that he is, and why he's the last Spartan, and what he's reached, and, like, there are other principal characters, like, he's, the main captain in Halo 1, like, he's a main character, and there's a lot of stuff to do, right? Dr. Halsey, who's, like, the scientist who creates the Spartans, she is, she's an important character. So, it's just to say, like, the stuff's going on, stuff's happening. But, it's really a book about the Chief, a book about who he is and what's going on with him and stuff. And it's, really fine at that. And it's, I think, the thing I do want to say about it is, like, I think Halo's really interesting political text in many ways, because it is, like, Buddy and colleague Jackson Tyler wrote a piece for Paste about Halo. It's really great. People should check it out. That's about, like, basically they say that, like, Halo was the work of people who knew that the Star System was bad, but also thought they were cool, and that there's, like, no, like, it doesn't really, like, there's not a contradiction between those two things in the mind of the creators, right? That it's like, Master Chief is a hero, and he's fucking cool, but he's also this bastard cool, and that's really sad, and, like, there's just all this stuff going on, right? And the book, at once, addresses that, but also very much sides it, and, it doesn't, I don't think it thematizes it in a way just kind of, like, it's there, and the book, like, does address it, but it's also, like, it's still invested in you playing a cool guy in a video game, right? Like, fundamentally. It's just not, They can't not do that, you know what I mean? Like, this is the... So, it is what it is. I bet all these droids are these guys.
Authorization. System cannot identify. Please don't go. Please don't go. What's happening? Are you with Lord Grafton?
Why is this
Are you
voice
invading?
like such a nice
System
little British
cannot
boy?
identify.
I'm here on my own. Lord Grafton is an enemy.
Then who? System cannot stop. Reassigning priorities. Operating number 2188697. Please. Did the Duchess send you? Please help me.
Your commander sent me to free you and the others.
We failed her. Failed to defend ourselves. Grafton's people took us prisoner for experiments. The scientists cut open our heads, put us in droids. Identification model OHK-99. They program us for advanced intelligence. Enhanced combat tactics. Now
Oof.
my body's lying dead across the room.
Alright, this is okay. Oh, I can relate. I lost my freedom once, but now I'm working for the very empire that enslaved me, so I'm
Are
good.
the rest of the soldiers still alive?
I'm the last. The others have all been converted. They can't talk, can't disobey, but I know they can still think, feel. Please listen. You could disable us all. Send the shutdown command from our central command console. Please. You could put an end to this. Use the command console. I can't go with you, motor and combat systems non-functional. Please, make it stop hurting.
Is this? Oh yeah, so his body's just right there. That's fucked up. Like, this is the kind of thing I think like you could do with Empire stories, right? It's like you're encountering sort of this like fringe element that like is doing some shit that like ultimately reflects back what the Empire itself is doing to its own soldiers, right? There's like, you know, there's stuff going on there, in a way that like I can vibe with this in a way that like all the slavery stuff that's happened up till now is like, I think either ridiculous or like tone deaf and bad. So, yeah, again, I'm really like fascinated about like what like, you know, like what the Jedi Quest are like, right? Because I mean, this is also the thing is like this is very much post-prequel Star Wars, right? You're playing in a space that's very much a prequel in a certain sense, right? And so I sort of wonder, like, how do you deal with like the Republic being the institution it is, right? We're gonna disable these fucking droids. Yeah, not surprising. Yeah, I thought there was something like that with the choice, right? And like the thing is, there is a way, like that's obviously like the light side to it, but there is a way I think you can read that as like a practical Sith choice, where like, yeah, that you can have a difference in velocity, yeah, those kind of things, right? I think it's also, I mean, it's just one of the weird things about this is like the fact that you are a slave or were a slave, right? And the game has to like deal with that in some way, and also doesn't. And I kind of wish, I think you could. And I guess it's like to fuel this like underdog story, right? That you're like, oh, I'm at the center of this, you know, big thing and whatever. But I think there's like something a lot more just like easy, useful, and like good that you could do with this. You know, yeah, like you don't have to make the player an underdog, right? You don't have to make everything like obtainable through their mind. Like the story could be about someone having privilege, right, or being sort of in a situation where they're truly incentivized to duel, and you know, and then it like the thing is everything just makes more sense, right? And you could do that with this, right, where it's like someone's a former slave who like has the opportunity to rank up, which is like not really a thing, I guess, as far as I understand it, a lot of this kind of thing. But you know, whatever. Like granting that that's an idea, or you know, something that can happen. There's you know, then a like reckoning that comes with I'm turning against the people who I duo comrades, like, they're, you could do stuff like that. I think the game is just really resistant. Because, I mean, but that's sort of the thing, is part of it, it's just weird because it's like, obviously the Empire's bad, and the game's, like, not shy about that, right? But it's also, it wants to let you still be a cool hero within that, and I think the way, like, I think that's just the coward's way out of it, right? Is you have to, and right, and this is also what the flashpoint earlier that was hinting at, like, the idea that, we can, the idea that's like, oh, the Empire and the Republic are planning this horrific machine of war that are going to destroy everything. Like, and then you can sort of have instances where where the game's working across multiple axes, right? And where like you can team up against like a, and I think stuff like that, like, honestly, just works better in something like WoW, where I guess I'm pro horde, I guess, as much as, like, because it's racist. The whole thing is fucking racist. But, like, just to say that, like, there is, there's not, like, a good or bad side there, right? Like, it is not even just morally complicated. It's like, it's like groups that have, like, ideological differences. Anyway, and, like, and the thing is that it sets up, like, you can be a player on either side, and the thing. And, like, obviously Star Wars is going to be, like, light side, dark side shit, right? But it feels like, like, it wants to be WoW, but it also wants to be Star Wars, and can't, like, reconcile those two things or, like, make them something more interesting, right? Like, it would be cool if, if this wasn't something that had all the trappings of the Empire, but was, like, a separate Jedi Order kind of thing, right? Like, there's just a lot of stuff you could do, with the set dressing of Star Wars to shake, but because, it has to have the basic iconography, right? You have to be able to do all this stuff. You have to have the fucking Empire logo. It's like the exact same thing as the Empire logo. Star Wars, right? So you can point at the screen and go, there's Star Wars, there it is. You have to have a Wookiee guy who's like an evil Sith man. It's just like how it is, and that's I think on some level that's fine. Like, I understand end up being this way, but Star Wars has poisoned my brain, and so I'm always thinking about ways it could be better. This is the thing. It's like, this is the fundamental thing. Is I think this is just a setting that's really interesting, not necessarily the Republic, right? But just Star Wars, generally speaking. There's a lot about it that I find really fascinating. It's, like, obviously, like, inconsistent and weird, not particularly logical or materialist, right? But that's part of what is appealing to me about it. Like, fundamentally, I'm still a Mormon bitch. I'm a mystic in some level, right? And so, that's what's appealing to me about the setting, right? And I would love to do some... Anyway, so it's just like, this is the thing, is like the imagination of what Star Wars is and can be is really, really limited. I think at least in these sort of big popular works, right? And like, maybe there are novels, I think even the Revenge of the Sith novel kind of hints at some of this stuff, that there's like, Star Wars could be a lot of different things, whatever, right? But yeah, and also part of it is like, what people are interested about Star Wars or find appealing, it's like, not, like, I don't fucking care about Bonnie and bounty hunters at all, and that's like the whole thing is like the criminal underworld stuff is like pretty much all of Mandalorian and all of I'm sure the Fed show is gonna be like this too, right? Like, it's just, that's what the whole setup is of Star Wars right now going forward, and like, we'll get into that on the show, we don't need to. I've already talked about the problem with the Ahsoka show. There's the thing, you can look it up. But with the problem with Rosario. Anyway, so there's just stuff going on, and I want to be, and I'm just, Star Wars is at a place right now that I'm just not very interested in, and I think, like, even when I've looked back and read some of the fiction, like, I mean, I read part of the Thrawn trilogy, which is better than, than the Rogue Squadron books, certainly, but it's also, I don't think it's necessarily that great or even good, it's just not what's interesting to me about this. And this is also the thing, is like the Halo novels we were talking about earlier, like, Fall of Reach is about the stuff that's interesting to me in the setting, right? And like, I'm not saying it gets all of it right, but it is like the thematic concerns of Fall of Reach are the stuff that I'm interested in thinking about and
I
writing
heard there
about
was
when it comes
action
to
at
Halo.
Grafton's place. Not many people make it
So,
in and out like that. But
you
I'm
know.
not seeing my men. Tell me what you found in there.
Grafton was experimenting on them, converting them into machines.
Machines. Right. I'd heard rumors about Grafton's repulsive methods, and I have a strong stomach, but I feel a little sick right now. I was hoping they'd be okay. What an idiot I am.
They didn't suffer. I made sure of that. It was the least I could do.
Is that right? Well, I actually appreciate that. Guess it had to be done. You got the information I wanted, so you earned your pay. Take it. Those kids won't miss a few credits. Now I've got to send word to their families and return their belongings. Then it'll be time to recruit some fresh faces.
I wish you well.
Thanks. I'll need it.
I don't know. Ugh. I'm tired of Kremval being annoyed at me because I'm not a fascist bitch. I'm sorry. But the thing is, I am a fascist bitch. I should say. This is all still, I'm still operating ideologically and I think that's going to be it for today. We did go. I think that, the thing is, I think that was the first mission that I straight up liked. Like, short, sweet, had, like, narrative setup and payoff, had kind of an interesting, like, body horror, horrific thing that, like, ties into what, like, this is the whole thing. It's like, you go back, she's like, yeah, I gotta go get some new recruits. Like, anyway. Nice. Like, I'm not gonna say A+, but, like, that's real quest design, baby. This is RPG shit. I can get behind this. I'm not holding my breath. There'll be more like this to come. But anyway, thanks for joining me for this kind of abbreviated episode. And, thanks for subbing to the Patreon. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, we'll just see. I guess, like, we'll keep everyone updated as to stuff that's going to happen. I think it would be cool to get a group together for, like, an LP. I think it would be fun, and maybe there's a couple people I could DM about it, actually. But I don't know if I'm gonna do that. We'll see. I once would like to get more ambitious with some of these, like, more personal projects, but also it's struggle. Anyway, you've heard enough from me. Thanks for vibing. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time.